ruling the frozen wilderness. The polar bear, powerful, patient, and never missing an opportunity. They move silently across the ice, tracking prey from a distance before delivering a decisive strike. When the hunt begins, there is no warning, no escape. Each attack is a fight for survival, where a single mistake can end everything. These are the most terrifying moments ever captured. In the frozen Arctic, climate change is rapidly shrinking the extent of sea ice. The boundaries of survival are tightening, forcing wildlife to travel farther and expend vast amounts of energy just to stay alive. Seals have a thick layer of blubber beneath their skin to maintain body heat in freezing waters, but this body structure makes them agile swimmers, yet slow and clumsy on ice. Their only defensive advantage while resting on the ice is their whiskers, which are highly sensitive and packed with nerve endings, allowing them to detect even the slightest vibrations in their surroundings. Understanding these conditions, the polar bear executes a hunting technique with absolute precision. Its highly sensitive sense of smell allows it to locate prey from tens of kilometers away. Its current hunting success rate is only about 1 in 20, and the energy gained from a small catch is often not enough to compensate for what was spent. To maximize its chances, the hunter always moves against the wind, letting the airflow carry away any trace of its scent. Beneath the polar bear's paws are thousands of tiny papillae that create exceptional grip, allowing it to move silently and avoid slipping on ice and snow. Every step that closes the distance is calculated with precision, ensuring no unnecessary vibrations are made. The safe distance disappears in an instant as the polar bear unleashes its full muscular power in a short burst of speed. The silence of the frozen expanse shatters as the massive body charges straight toward the water's edge, driving the seal into sheer panic. The moment the prey slips into the water, the polar bear lunges forward, using its curved claws to pin it down. The icy surface erupts violently, then quickly falls silent again, leaving the hunter to slowly drag its catch onto the ice. This life-or-death meal provides a vital reserve of energy, enough for the hunter to survive for weeks. In a melting Arctic, every mistake in hunting comes at a deadly cost, total exhaustion, and ultimately, death. The Arctic summer arrives, bringing the complete melting of coastal ice sheets. This shift in terrain strips predators of their familiar hunting grounds. Forcing them to adapt their strategies and search for survival opportunities along the boundary between land and sea. At this harsh frontier, a silent life and death struggle begins to take shape. Beluga whales have a unique biological structure with no dorsal fin, allowing them to navigate easily through very shallow waters. During summer, they often use tidal currents to move close to shore, rubbing their bodies against gravel beds to shed old skin. However, these shallow waters severely limit the escape routes of a body weighing over a ton. Faced with the loss of sea ice, polar bears are forced to switch to shoreline ambush tactics. Each strand of a polar bear's fur is actually a hollow, transparent tube, enabling them to blend perfectly into the white foam washing against the rocky shore. Knowing that a missed strike on land would cost an immense, unrecoverable amount of energy, the polar bear remains perfectly still, waiting for the beluga pod to be pushed by the tide into the narrowest, shallowest point. That extreme, cold patience finally converges into a decisive moment. A beluga, focused on moving with the current, unknowingly drifts too close to the rocky shoreline. The silence shatters instantly as the polar bear unleashes the full power of its upper body, launching forward in a lightning-fast lunge into the shallow water. Caught off guard in water, too shallow to dive and escape, the beluga thrashes violently, sending sprays of water in every direction. The polar bear delivers an overwhelming bite, clamping its jaws deep into the thick layer of blubber while using its massive weight to pin the prey against the retreating current. All desperate resistance is quickly extinguished in the shallow water. This brutal hunt is a testament to the predator's remarkable adaptability and strategic thinking. In the wild, mastering the laws of the environment becomes the ultimate weapon, especially when every geographical advantage disappears. Not far from the polar bear hunting grounds, the frozen tundra continues to witness another life-or-death confrontation. Blizzard winds howl across the barren ground, creating an open battlefield where brutal hunger forces predators to risk everything in search of prey. In this death-filled silence, an intense battle of wills is about to unfold. Adult muskoxen weigh up to 880 pounds and are covered by a super-insulating double layer of fur. Their core strength lies in the keratin horn bases fused together on top of the head, forming a solid protective shield. On the opposite side, Arctic wolves do not possess overly large bodies, but have deep chests and long legs, an optimized structure for endurance that allows them to pursue prey continuously for dozens of miles. However, Arctic wolves rarely rely on brute force. They focus on psychological pressure and highly coordinated pack tactics. The wolf pack spreads out into a wide encircling formation, constantly moving to probe for weaknesses, especially targeting the young and vulnerable individuals on the edge of the herd. Their technique is to repeatedly launch lightning-fast charges and then pull back, with the goal of throwing the prey herd into panic and breaking their formation. These sophisticated tactical maneuvers quickly push the hunt to its breaking point. The wolf pack accelerates in unison, charging straight in from multiple directions toward a calf that has fallen out of step on the outermost edge. The relentless attacks and piercing howls shatter the silence of the tundra, forcing the muskox herd to immediately activate their collective defense. Instead of scattering in panic, the muskoxen shift position and form a tight defensive circle. All the calves are safely hidden in the center, while the adults stand shoulder to shoulder, facing outward. Dozens of sharp horns point directly at the enemy. Every time the wolves try to close in and find a gap, the entire herd lowers its heads in unison and stamps their hooves in warning. Assessing the risk, the wolf pack is forced to accept defeat and retreat. The wolves' withdrawal proves that a disciplined defensive system can render even the most perfect hunting skills useless when facing the absolute power of unity. On the harsh tundra, perfect hunting technique becomes futile against the strength of unbreakable solidarity. Failure against the muskoxen's defensive wall has drained most of the wolf pack's energy. In the vast open tundra with nowhere to hide, hunger forces them to immediately turn their attention to a herd of reindeer on their harsh migration route. It is in this empty space that a brutal endurance race officially begins. Reindeer possess hooves that can spread wide, acting like natural snowshoes. This allows them to maintain high speed without sinking deeply into the snow. However, this advantage demands an enormous reserve of stamina to sustain over long distances. Instead of panicking and chasing at full speed from the very beginning, the wolf pack uses a steady trotting technique for a prolonged pursuit. This coordination allows the wolf pack to conserve energy completely while maintaining an invisible but constant pressure behind the prey. This cold patience quickly creates the opportunity for a decisive breakthrough. Under the relentless pursuit pressure, the reindeer herd gradually runs out of oxygen and begins to scatter in multiple directions. A young reindeer with shorter strides falls behind and becomes completely separated from the main group. The moment the lone prey is exposed, the wolf pack immediately changes pace, shifting from endurance running to a high-speed encirclement to lock down the target. Losing the protection of the herd and lacking the muscle mass needed to deliver defensive kicks leaves the young reindeer with only one survival option: attempting to flee. The distance is quickly closed as the wolf pack surges forward, pressing in tightly from both flanks. Ruthless bites target the hind legs, bringing the prey down after just a few minutes of pursuit. The bloody meal confirms that physical endurance is the most dangerous hunting weapon of wolves. On the frozen tundra, the winner is not the fastest runner, but the one who refuses to stop. When the hunt ends, the frozen region sinks back into cold silence. The tracks are quickly erased by wind and snow, as if nothing had ever happened. The polar bear continues its journey. Always in hunting mode. always ready for the next opportunity. Here, survival is never guaranteed. Only the strongest and most patient endure. And across the endless ice, another hunt is slowly beginning, where death lurks in every step.